You're watching Morning at NTV. You're watching Morning at NTV.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at NTV. My name is Malaki Vilodera. Now today we'll be looking at how do we as Ugandans take care of our environment and what can we do to just take care of the environment, because what we saw a few weeks ago in Bududa was as a result of, nature hitting back at us. So what can you and I do in terms of, taking care of the environment, in terms of tree planting, in terms of, when it comes to agriculture, how do you do your farming practices, play a major role in taking care of the environment. So how best can we take care of the environment? The hashtag is Morning at NTV. That's on Twitter. You can also stream us live and drop in your comments. NTV Uganda, that's on Facebook and YouTube pages. On phone, I'll be joined very soon by one of the corporate, kind of companies, and this is Reham, that is taking up a tree planting project in Luwero, just to make sure that they start the conversation, that they actually lead by example. I know a few years back we used to do this in schools, as companies. It used to be a big story whereby we used to have tree planting, kind of projects, tree planting campaigns. Where did all that go? Why are you not planting trees again? So we need to revive that conversation, and we need to be deliberate about taking care of Mother Nature, because if we don't do so, Mother Nature will hit back at us. And so that is the conversation today, and I'll be sampling some of your views as we move on. Now remember, the Bududa landslides is still part of the big stories that we are covering as media houses, and the victims are apparently going through a relocation process. But the story has been, this year what we have right now is that it's not the first time that Bududa experienced the landslides. Actually, this year alone, from January to now, of course, authorities say that Bududa has experienced over 60 landslides. So over 60 landslides. And the questions you've been bringing to us is, if it's been over 60 landslides since the year started, why has it taken so long for the government to actually move in and avert this particular situation? Unfortunately, over 40 people lost their lives in this particular landslides, and so government is still working on that. Of course, we saw the president visit Bududa, and he promised to financially facilitate the families of them that lost their lives and the families of them that were affected. Exams are still going on. We had the UNEB, officials come here, and so they assured us that in spite of this particular landslides, then all the students in this particular kind of area in Bududa are still undergoing examinations, and they're saying that they are deliberate about this, and no student, no pupil will miss out on examinations. So that has been catered for. But what do we do to mitigate this particular disaster? We've been seeing cahoots, and we've been seeing kind of rackets with regards to cutting down of trees. Of course, the Africana species is quite peculiar, and it's a species that is being sought out world over, and this is a story that we actually carried as NTV. Illegal logging is the conversation. Yesterday we saw charcoal traders riot at the Busia border because authorities apparently, told them that, you cannot continue to sell this charcoal across the border. We need to save on our trees. And so on phone right now, I'm joined by Madam Rachel Luwende, who is the PR of Reham. I told you Reham is actually taking over a tree planting campaign, and they're starting this in Luwero. Good morning, madam.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Talk us us in about this particular tree planting project that TRIHAM is undertaking.
So basically, we started on a greening mission. We called it a greening mission because obviously we're going to be planting trees in and around Uganda. And for the first time, we selected Luwero, where we went physically to plant about 1,000 trees, and that was yesterday.
1,000 trees.
Yes.
Someone would ask, why Luwero?
Right. Now, we selected Luwero particularly because they have a charcoal burning issue going on. About 90% of their trees are brought down for the purpose of charcoal trade. So this happens within the center of the district and around the rural areas of Luwero. And you would find that there are about 200 schools in the same district that are being affected by this issue. So we felt that it would be crucial to start by planting trees in Luwero to give back to them, as they're already taking down so many trees already.
Okay, we know that the Africana species is the species that everyone is sorting out for, and with the illegal logging that is going on, that is the species that is, you know, being targeted. So with regards to the tree planting initiative, what types of trees are you looking at in terms of planting? Right,
like I mentioned, we selected schools mainly, and we selected about 12 schools from Kawanda all the way to the border of Luwero. And within these schools, we planted fruit trees, fruit and shade trees in particular. I remember when I was in school myself, we were able to at least study under shade. Most of the time, that would be very conducive for learning. But the fruit trees was because of the schools that we selected had mainly vulnerable children that came from not very well-to-do families. Most of them come to school without anything to eat. So we thought that by the time these trees would mature, they're mango trees, guava trees, jackfruits, oranges. These children would also have the opportunity to feed from these trees, hopefully.
Okay. And I know in line with tree planting, there's the issue to do with plastic recycling, the recycling of plastic bags, because at the end of the day, we're looking out for Mother Nature and how we can make sure that we safeguard the environment, you know, for even the future generations. So with regards to recycling, caveras, as we commonly call them, what is RIHAM doing?
Right, you're very right. This year, the World Environment Day was celebrating Beat the Plastic Bottle, and as a plastic manufacturer ourselves, that is still our core objective. When we went for this initiative, we went along with drums for recycling plastic bottles. We call them litter bins, but they're more very, very big drums that are branded, and they show indication that you need to recycle from these drums. We are working on the same initiative with KCCA, where we'll be distributing drums in and around KCCA-affiliated institutions, which include hospitals, schools, and public areas. We are going to be distributing more bins. But as of yesterday, we distributed the same litter bins in every single school that we went to, and we were able to educate the children there on the ways in which they could recycle, not just plastic bottles, but all Bovera as well.
Oh, amazing. And are you planning to stretch over that kind of, you know, training to the rest of, you know, the communities and even the country? Because we know that TRIHAM is a big brand in terms of beverages, and many of Ugandans actually consume your products.
Yes, we are. I mean, like I mentioned, we are working on a project with KCCA, first of all in Kampala, where we are going to be distributing these glitter bins in and around their affiliated institutions, and we would be able to educate the people on how they would be using these recycling drums. But also we are hoping to start our own collection points in Kampala first, moving outside, where we would be educating people on how they could have common collection points for them to recycle their plastic bottles. So we're starting here first at home, and then hopefully we'll be able to move outside Kampala as well.
Okay, let's go back to the tree planting initiative, the Go Green initiative that RIHAM is actually undertaking. The conversation has been, the issue is not planting trees, but making sure that these trees are actually nurtured and that they grow to maturity. So with regards to that, what measures are you putting in place to ensure that these trees actually thrive and grow to maturity?
So yesterday when we went to Luwero, we didn't go on our own. We went with an organization called Join the Green, and Join the Green has bases around the country where they have operations for the tree planting initiative. In Luwero, they have a team that is going to be following up with us on how these trees are being nurtured. They're working together with the schools where they've created talking orchards, where the children have to learn how many times they can water these trees, how are they supposed to pest control these trees, what stages the trees will be going through. We've also put up signposts at every single school that indicate that the school is a green zone. These signposts include educative notes that will also be continuously educating the children on what they have to do for these trees. And lastly, we also included talking environment for where we have planted the trees. So whenever the children will be going through it, will be reminding them, plant me, let me say twice a day, or plant me twice a week. This is what you have to do for me. This is how you would have to pluck weeds off me. So we are trying to make it fun for the children through these different signs. And obviously the teachers as well would have responsible ambassadors who were able to give pledge cards on how they would be managing these trees over time. And we would also be going back to monitor and evaluate the progress with Join the Green.
Okay, we currently have only 8% of the forest cover here in the country. It is a big crisis. Illegal logging is real. So with regards to that and just stretching out of, schools, are you planning to go into forests as well? Just make sure that we revive our forests as well.
To be honest, at the moment we're focusing on schools mainly because you have a lot more control within schools. If you're planting outside, the control on who will be looking after the plantations that you'd be putting around would be a bit difficult, considering there's a lot of illegal logging, as you mentioned earlier. So we focused more on schools, knowing that within there we would have control with the teachers, with the students, and also better care. If you plant more in schools, you'd be educating the children on how to nurture the nature itself, and also they would be able to bring them to growth. So right now our focus point is on schools, and hopefully we're going to take advantage of the next planting season in April and October next year as well to move into other regions.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Rachel Luende. Before I let you go, what do you want to add before I let you go?
Yes.
Do you want to add anything before I let you go?
Oh, yes. Maybe just to add that obviously people might really wonder why we have been, because with Riham we have so many different CSR initiatives and why we have stretched out into the environment. But the key culture that we have as a company is one for many. And the one for many culture means that with every bottle that the people consume within the country, we take a certain percentage and put it back into the community. So we felt that why not venture into the environment and find out how we can do this. It's not the first initiative of environmental awareness that we have taken care of. We have been part and parcel of the Green Festival, a very big festival where children come and have fun, but also over 20,000 of these children go back home with a seedling that they're able to plant at home. So it is something that we're looking to grow, something that we're looking to nurture as much as we can, and we invite very many organizations that have different ideas on how we can push this forward to help us in ways that maybe we wouldn't be able to do ourselves.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Rachel Luende, the PR of Riham Limited here in the country. Have a blessed day. Okay, so yeah, that's the conversation today on Kickstarter. How can you and I take part in just reviving and giving back to Mother Nature? We have been totally unfair to Mother Nature, and that's why we've been seeing Mother Nature hit back on us. Of course, case in study, the Bududa landslides that happen. How can we make sure that this does not happen again? Of course, government is doing so much to ensure that this is stopped, that the victims are relocated in Bududa. There's been a lot of, conversation to do with the same, because funds were misappropriated here and there, but that is being kept under control. And so I told you we are on the hashtag Morning@NTV, that's on Twitter. You can also stream us live and drop in your comments. NTV Uganda, that's on Facebook and YouTube pages. How can you and I take part in reviving Mother Nature? Remember, a few years back, it used to be a huge conversation, a huge drive in school schools, with corporate organizations, even with government, whereby as students, I remember we used to go out, plant trees, adopt trees, take care of them until they mature. And so how can we get back to that culture, and what more can we do? Just to sample some of your feedback as they're coming through, and this is on Facebook. We have Moses Kidandi. You're saying that this particular crisis needs to be addressed, and NEMA together with NFA need to account for what is happening currently. Thank you so much, Mr. Moses Kidandi. Keep your views coming. I'll be sure to sample some of them as we continue. So as you'll see in your papers today, we're still big on the conversation to do with the landslides in Bududa. And so the conversation has been, how do we make sure that we take care of this? Of course, as you were saying, as I was interviewing Madam Rachel Luwende from the PRO from Reham Limited here in the country, you are seeing the cutaways going through, and now we only have 8% of forest cover in the country. Where are we going wrong? Why is this illegal logging still continuing? Still keep your views coming. How can this be addressed? How can the authorities make sure that they fix, the gaps and the loose belts that, corrupt officials are taking advantage of to, propel this particular, vice? A few days ago, we were having this particular future of illegal logging, and some of the area residents say that they just keep on seeing people coming with trucks, trees being cut down, and this trees just being taken away. And so it's been a huge conversation, and what many of the residents were saying, if these trees are cut, they've been cut for a very long time, and so it is directly affecting the climatic conditions of our area. We are farmers, but the climatic conditions, we are struggling. It's hard to get rain, so we struggle to make sure that our crops actually don't dry out. We struggle to ensure that we actually, harvest when it's harvest time. So it is a huge conversation. How can we change this as Ugandans? And so I'm joined by Andrew Chamagero. He's on ground, and like I said, on your papers you'll be sure to grab details on the Bududa landslides and the relocation of the victims of this particular landslide. So right now I'm joined by Andrew Chamagero, but I hear that he's on standby, but we need to pay our bills fast, so we are taking a short commercial break, but we'll be back. Keep it here.